Hi, welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. My name is Madison Miller, and today I'll talk about NFL Week 17 and make my picks, preview Black Monday and see which coaches could possibly get fired and who's safe. And I'll make picks for the college football playoffs and the other bowl games that are going on Monday and recap the other bowl games that happened this past week. To the picks. Green Bay is at Detroit. Green Bay coming off a Saturday night shutout home loss against the Minnesota Vikings. Detroit is coming off a bad road loss in Cincinnati against the Bengals that eliminated them from playoff contention. This is a meaningless game, and you never know what could happen. But I'm going to take the Lions at home. Give me Detroit 27, Green Bay 23. Houston is at Indianapolis. Houston is coming off a Christmas Day home loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Indianapolis is coming off a Saturday afternoon road loss in Baltimore against the Ravens. This game's atrocious. Give me the Colts at home, led by Jacoby Brissett. Could be his final game as a Colt. Don't rule out the possibility that he's traded to another team to possibly be like a starter in case one of those teams miss out on one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. Give me Indianapolis 26, Houston 16. Chicago is at Minnesota. Chicago's coming off a home win over the Browns. Minnesota's coming off a shutout Saturday night road win in Green Bay against the Packers. Another meaningless game. I like the Vikings at home, 30-16. The Jets are at New England. New York is coming off a home loss against the Chargers. New England's coming off a home win over the Buffalo Bills. The Pats wrap up home field advantage here with the win or a Steelers loss. I'll take them to get the win, but don't rule out the starter sitting the second half if the lead's big. New England 30, New York 10. Washington is at the Giants. Washington is coming off a home win over the Broncos. New York is coming off a shutout road loss in Glendale against the Cardinals. The Giants have a ton of injuries, and the Redskins do too. But give me the Redskins in the close one, and what could very well, or I don't want to say very well could be, but it's not inconceivable that it could be Eli Manning's final game as a Giant. But give me Washington 20-16 over the Giants. Dallas is at Philadelphia. Dallas is coming off a bad home loss against the Seattle Seahawks that eliminated them from playoff contention. Philadelphia is coming off a Christmas night home win over the Oakland Raiders. The Eagles have nothing to play for with home field advantage already wrapped up in the NFC. So I'll give you the Cowboys to get the win on the road, 24-20. Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cleveland is coming off a road loss in Chicago against the Bears. Pittsburgh is coming off a dominant Christmas Day road win over the Houston Texans. The Steelers are resting their starters, but I still don't see the Browns getting a win. So, to give me the Steelers to defeat the Browns and make the Browns the first team to go winless since the Detroit Lions in 2008. So, Pittsburgh 20, Cleveland 13. Jacksonville's at Tennessee, and this is the start of the 4 o'clock games. It's very rare that they're doing 7 1 o'clock games and 9 4 o'clock games and no Sunday night game. So, yeah, Jacksonville is coming off a brutal road loss in Santa Clara against the 49ers. Tennessee is coming off a home loss against the Los Angeles Rams. The Titans need this game to make the playoffs, but the Jags are not resting their starters, and I like them to knock off their division rivals on the road to ruin the Titans' season. Jacksonville 26, Tennessee 19. Buffalo's at Miami. Buffalo is coming off a road loss in Foxborough against the Patriots. Miami is coming off a road loss in Kansas City against the Chiefs. A lot of people like the Dolphins here. I could see why with Kenyon Drake playing really well. But I like the Bills here in a game that if they win and catch some breaks along the way that they can make the playoffs. I'm going to say they win this game, but they don't make the playoffs. Buffalo 26, Miami 20. Carolina's at Atlanta in what is the biggest game of the afternoon. Carolina is coming off a home win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Atlanta is coming off a divisional road loss in New Orleans against the Saints. The Falcons must win this game in order to make the playoffs, and the Panthers can still win the division with the win, and if the Saints lose. The Falcons have had Jekyll and Hyde all season long, so give me the Panthers in a very close game on the road. Carolina 24, Atlanta 23. New Orleans is at Tampa Bay. New Orleans is coming off a big divisional home win over the Atlanta Falcons. Tampa Bay is coming off a divisional road loss in Carolina against the Panthers. Jameis Winston has played well the last couple weeks, but I think the Saints win this game to clinch the NFC South. Give me New Orleans 27, Tampa Bay 20. Cincinnati Bengals visit the Baltimore Ravens. Cincinnati is coming off a home win over the Detroit Lions to eliminate the Lions from playoff contention. Baltimore is coming off a Saturday afternoon home win over the Indianapolis Colts. The Ravens need this game to clinch a playoff berth, and I believe they'll just do that. Baltimore 26, Cincinnati 16. Kansas City Chiefs visit the Denver Broncos. Kansas City is coming off a home win over the Miami Dolphins to wrap up a playoff berth. Denver is coming off a road loss in Landover against the Redskins. Patrick Mahomes is getting his first career start here for the Chiefs, and Paxton Lynch is starting for the Broncos. Give me Mahomes to lead the Chiefs to a win in a meaningless game. Kansas City 24, Denver 16. Oakland at the Chargers. Oakland is coming off a Christmas night road loss in Philadelphia against the Eagles. Los Angeles is coming off a road win in East Rutherford against the Jets. The Chargers need to win this game to make the playoffs with a few breaks, and I believe they'll get this win. The way my picks work, they get the breaks they need, and I believe the Los Angeles Chargers will make the playoffs. Los Angeles 27, Oakland 17. San Francisco visits the Rams. San Francisco is coming off their fourth straight win, which came at the expense of the playoff-bound Jacksonville Jaguars at home. Los Angeles is coming off a road win in Tennessee against the Titans. That clinched them the NFC West. The Rams are sitting key players such as Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, and Aaron Donald to give me Jimmy Garoppolo and the Niners to win their fifth straight game. San Francisco 27, Los Angeles 13. Last game, Arizona is at Seattle. Arizona is coming off a shutout home win over the New York Giants. Seattle is coming off a huge road win in Arlington against the Cowboys to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Seahawks need to win, and the Falcons need to lose in order for the Seahawks to get the NFC final wild card spot, and that's what I believe happens. Seattle 23, Arizona 16. And then Monday and even late Sunday night, you can see a ton of coaches get fired. Just to wrap it up, New England, Belichick's not going anywhere. Don't worry about that. The Jets extended Todd Bowles. Adam Gase could be in trouble. Sean McDermott's certainly not going anywhere. Mike Tomlin's not going anywhere. Jim Harbaugh's probably not going anywhere. Hugh Jackson, I heard, was coming back, but you never know with the Browns. Marvin Lewis is probably out at Cincinnati. Chuck Pagano probably out at Indianapolis. Bill O'Brien could be out in Houston. Mike Mularkey, if the Titans lose to Jacksonville tomorrow, he could be let go. And Doug Marone's obviously safe. Vance Joseph could be let go after one season in Denver. Andy Reid's not going anywhere. Jack Del Rio could possibly be fired. And Anthony Lynn isn't going anywhere after what could very well be a playoff season in his first season with the Los Angeles Chargers. Ben McAdoo was already fired, and I don't think Steve Spagnuolo will get the intern tag removed. Doug Peterson obviously not going anywhere. Jay Gruden could be fired from Washington. Jason Garrett probably not going anywhere for Dallas. I'm sure who I call the Clapper will return to Dallas at least for another year. Mike McCarthy probably not going anywhere because they lost Aaron Rodgers for the year. Mike Zimmer's obviously safe. John Fox is probably going to get let go by the Bears. Jim Caldwell could very well be let go by the Detroit Lions. Sean Payton probably isn't going anywhere, although you'll hear rumors about him going to the Giants now that they hired Dave Gettleman as their GM. Dan Quinn probably isn't going anywhere. Ron Rivera probably isn't going anywhere. Dirk Cutter, you heard rumors that he's coming back, but you never know. And then you heard the John Gruden stuff, so I think Dirk Cutter could be on the way out in Tampa Bay. Pete Carroll's not going anywhere. Bruce Arians, I'm hearing, is probably going to retire. Kyle Shanahan's not going anywhere. And Sean McVay, who in my opinion is the favorite for Coach of the Year this year, obviously isn't going anywhere. Bowl games, college football playoff, and other bowl games picks. January 1st, you have the Outback Bowl, Michigan at South Carolina, versus South Carolina. This game is sneaky good between these two teams that are pretty good defensively. The Wolverines lost their final 2 games, although they were against better opponents in Wisconsin and Ohio State. The Gamecocks split their final 4 games, and the 2 losses came against Georgia and Clemson, who are obviously both in the college football playoff. I like the Wolverines here in a low-scoring game, so the pick is Michigan. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, undefeated UCF against Auburn. This is a very good matchup. The Knights went unbeaten, as I just mentioned, are really good offensively. The Tigers were a win away from the college football playoff and were blown out by Georgia in the SEC championship game. Give me the Tigers in a close, high-scoring affair, so the pick there is Auburn. The Citrus Bowl, Notre Dame against LSU. This should be a fun game. The Fighting Irish lost 2 of their final 3 games, but were both on the road against ranked teams in Miami and Stanford. The Tigers very quietly won their final 3 games and very quietly went 9-3 this season. I love the Irish in this spot, and I like Brandon Wimbush to lead them to a win. So the pick there is Notre Dame. The college football playoff picks. Number 2, Oklahoma Sooners against number 3, Georgia Bulldogs in the Rose Bowl. This is such a fascinating game by so many aspects. Oklahoma won the Big 12 championship game over TCU, and its one loss was a close game against an Iowa State team that I felt overachieved this season. Georgia won the SEC championship game over the Auburn Tigers in dominant fashion. Their lone loss, ironically, came in Auburn against that same Tiger team that they defeated to get here. The winner of this game won't surprise me in any way, but give me Baker Mayfield and the Sooners here in a very close game over Jake Fromm and the Bulldogs. So give me Oklahoma 34, Georgia 27. And then you got the Sugar Bowl, number 1 Clemson Tigers against number 4, the Alabama Crimson Tide. 3 straight seasons, these 2 schools hook up, except this time it's in the semifinals. Clemson won the ACC championship game over Miami, and its lone loss came at Syracuse in a game which Kelly Bryant got injured in. Alabama didn't play in the SEC championship game due to its loss against Auburn, but deserved to be in this college football playoff due to the fact that the Big Ten champion Ohio State had the bad loss, and Iowa City and the fact that they had 2 losses, and Alabama only had 1 loss. This was a very hard call, but give me the Tide in a close one, although both teams have the experience from the last 2 seasons, and Kelly Bryant, the quarterback of Clemson, I don't think has played in a big game like this, and Jalen Hurts obviously has the experience from last year. So give me Alabama 20, Clemson 17. All right, that's it for today. I'll probably do another podcast maybe late Monday night after the playoff game so I can recap those games and all the other bowl games and recap week 17 and recap who got fired and whatnot. So have a happy New Year.